Is the Minister of Education and Youth downplaying the issue of teacher migration for things to seem as if it's under control? Let's look at it together. So then, for some time now, Jamaica's education system have been experiencing significant brain drain. Last year, quite a number of teachers migrated before and during the start of the 2022-2023 academic year. And currently, it seems there is definitely going to be a repeat of such event. Recently, at a post-cabinet briefing, the Minister of Education and Youth outlined data that I was very much concerned about. He mentioned that 20% are clear vacancies. What does that mean? It means those teachers have left permanently. This can be as a result of retirement or resignation. She also mentioned that a number of teachers will either be on 4 or 8 months vacation leave, and others will be in temporary or contracted positions. These teachers who are on leave will return to work after the 4 and 8 month period has ended. They are just out of the system temporary, as much as we know so far. When last year's total vacation and retirement leave of 1,664 is compared with this year's total vacation and retirement leave of 2,300, the difference is 636 more. Of that number, some will not be returning because they have reached retirement age. How much of the persons that are on retirement would be described of the 636? Vacation leave or retirement cannot be the only reason for the shortage of teachers in the country. That is what our Minister of Education and Youth stated. Alright, she made mention that because of vacation leave and retirement, because of teachers going off on vacation leave and retirement, that ends up being the reason for the teacher shortage. But I tell you, that cannot be the only reason. So I am sure there are teachers who are not on vacation leave or retirement and have resigned and is awaiting to handing their resignation once things follow through. Now, when it comes on to passing on or relaying of information, that information should be as accurate as possible. And I honestly believe that there are some loopholes in the accuracy of this information. She also made mention that 46% did not indicate whether the position is temporary or a clear vacancy. Now, this is definitely a cause for concern at this time. At the time of briefing, those numbers will not be the final amount. So can you imagine if there is already 20% clear vacancy and 46% isn't conclusive as to whether it's temporary or permanent, what is the probability of at least 30% of that 46% being permanent? I would want to know what number of teachers represent that 43% reduction in teacher migration she made mention of. Where schools did not state clearly the duration of those positions advertised is just a strategy to reduce an alarm and to lessen the attention on social media. Because if you pay attention keenly to the adverts in the Gleaner, all right, initially most schools started out with stating whether they need teachers of the various subject areas for 4 months, 8 months, or whether there's a clear vacancy. Now, after the buzz started on social media, where different schools are now being highlighted as to the number of teachers that are needed, it was then that some of these institutions that have not yet advertised in the Gleaner, when they put out their advertisement for teachers, some of them did not state whether the post being advertised for is 4 months, 8 months, or it's a clear vacancy. All right. So I think that is done to reduce the alarm. But guess what? As the adverts comes out on a weekly basis, we can still do our own analysis of the information that is presented there. So I don't see the sense in trying to conceal something. It is what it is. This is what is happening in our country, in our education system at this moment. All right? We are not the only country experiencing brain drain. All right? Migration of teachers is no new phenomenon. It has been happening worldwide. All right? It's just that Jamaica is now at a stage where it is happening more so often than it used to. All right? It has often been said, tested, and proven that encouragement sweetens labor. And as of such, teachers were not encouraged by the recent salary package, in addition to schools' leadership and managerial skills. And I know not only in the education sector, some of us, if not all of us, all right, that have worked in our life, we would have experienced different leadership and different managerial skills. No, some of us, we know how to adapt. All of us will work with the system if and until better comes. However, not all of us is going to sit down and take certain leadership styles all the days of our life. And so if certain opportunities comes around, I know some persons will gravitate to it. But the fact that there is still a crisis, the fact is, rather, there is still a crisis because 43% reduction in teacher migration still leaves 57% migration, which is over half of those teachers. So are you still saying that there's not a crisis and we don't have a problem? 46% is a significant number of positions advertised that doesn't reveal whether they are to be filled temporarily or permanent? If that isn't a part of the crisis, why do schools still need to implement the teacher recruitment and retention strategies for the 2023-2024 academic year? These include strategies such as the school board is empowered to take early recruitment decisions. And you know what early mean? They don't have to wait until the end of the academic school year to start recruiting new teachers. Engagement of teachers on approved vacation leave. So say me get my vacation leave now, whether 4 months or 8 months. Alright? And I have the option whether or not I want to take up the opportunity to go back and work for or at the institution for which I am relieved for my 4 or my 8 months leave. Outside of that, I can also be employed at a different institution. I don't have to go back to the one that I am previously coming from, where I was relieved for vacation leave. I can also go to another school and work for that period of time. However, this is all of these strategies. Some are more so personal to the individual teacher. And if a teacher decides to go work on the vacation leave that was given, it's up to that particular teacher. All right, based on what is stated, that teacher would be receiving the normal salary while on leave and then an additional salary for working within the vacation leave period. Also, engagement of part-time teachers. Part-time teachers is not really a new thing. It has been in the system for quite some time. It's just that in some public schools, it has not been so oftenly done, right? It's mostly full-time teachers. All right, it is what I have observed over time. When part-time teachers are there, it's mostly the skilled areas that those part-time teachers would normally be employed to occupy. All right, and those part-time teachers would be there for the tenure for which that period is stated. And then the engagement of retired teachers. So those would be teachers that would have already been out of the system, all right, reached the retirement age, all right, that they're at home relaxing, or if they are abroad, living abroad, or just visiting with family members, you know. And when this suggestion was first made mention of, it was a big topic of discussion, right? Because some of those retired teachers, some of them can hardly go. Some of us as young people, we can hardly go sometime too, because the system has a lot of workload. It's very demanding. All right, and even more so for the last couple of years, a lot of paper trail is necessary. So you have to be on your heels and your toes in order to get those documentation done and to manage your classes at the same time, you know. So I don't think, and that's my personal opinion, a retired teacher is really necessary in the classroom. Yes, I agree that you might find a 5 or a 10 or a 15% of the retired teachers who are still strong and bubbly, all right, and wouldn't mind giving an additional year back to the system. But if it should become mandatory in such a way where you have whole heap of retired teachers with whole heap of ailments, and as we know for a while now, when it comes on to illnesses, you don't have no age, you don't have no gender. But I do believe that when persons have reached their retirement age, they should take the time and relax. They have given the system so many years. They have taught so many students. And now it's their time to relax. But that decision is not up to me. That's just my opinion. All right? In addition to that, the engagement of pre-trained graduate teachers. As it says, pre-trained. No. I agree that we need to find different ways and means to solve our problems. But when it comes to pre-trained teachers, are we doing the right thing? And I'll just leave it there. The next one is engagement of final year student teachers. So we know that when teachers, colleges we know that teachers, colleges have their students going out for what is called teaching practicum on their final year. All right. So this may last from 3 to 6 months. All right. And those students, those final year students, they would actually be in the classroom teaching the students under the supervision of the original subject teacher. No. Remember, they're being trained. Alright, and so they are now given the experience to showcase whatever it is that they have learned, to see how best they handle students within the classroom. Alright, to see how best they impart that content to those students. So the regular teacher is there to also observe the process and to guide that final year student, to correct them if they make any form of error. So tell me now, if our teachers with experience are migrating and we have an influx of new teachers coming into the system, will they be given enough guidance and supervision to grow? Because that is very important, very important. And sometimes some new teachers, they believe that because they are now in the teaching world, nobody can say nothing to them again. Them reach. But Remember that a baby don't just get up one day and start walk. It's a process. And so for all new teachers, it is a process. You need guidance too. Proper guidance too. And that is what the experienced teachers are there for. The guidance counselors, the vice principals. And so we have to really think about some of these things. Are all of these things appropriate for our children? This term, they have a new teacher. Next term, they have one new teacher or several new teachers. So the teachers, the institutions, the parents, community, they are not the only ones that are being impacted by this educational crisis. Our students are as well. Because I know there have been schools since January that did not have any teacher up until the Easter break for some subject areas. So the students would have been without a teacher for 4 whole months. And you're going to tell me that there's not a crisis in the education system? So a student at the CSEC and CAPE level without a teacher for 4 months. And be realistic. Not all our students them intrinsically motivated where them are going to say, okay, let me take up the syllabus. Let me look to see what was the last topic that our teacher taught us. And let me do some independent learning to see how much I can grasp until I get a teacher. And all of the people them stay so. And sometimes teachers are then overburdened with those classes that those teachers who have migrated had. So you people at the top of the ladder dishing out strategies and instructions. But someone who really want to come sit down in the classroom them for a month or so, you know, I'm not even going a month, a week, and maybe a week too long too. For no really see and understand, you know. Because sometimes policies are being made, but do not really understand the basis for which to make them policy there. But the reality of life is, it is what it is at this time. So the next strategy is the redeployment and training of underutilized staff. So if schools have staff members that they feel that they are not being utilized enough, all right, they have the authority to utilize them in whatever capacity it is that they want to utilize them, all right, for efficiency and productivity within the institution. All right, so they can move them from working in this area to working in that area. All right. The next one is merger of small classes. So say you have a class of 10 students, and then you have another class of 5, and then you have another class of 6. So if 2 of those teachers decides to migrate, then the 3 classes can be merged as one. All right, so the only thing is that the original teacher that had her 10 students would not have 10 anymore, but no 21 with the 6 and the 5 that was added. All right, so that's a possibility. Use of the blocked timetable approach. So when classes are blocked, it means that if it's mathematics at 9 a.m., all the teachers or most of the teachers who are scheduled for math class would have mathematics at that time. All right. And lastly, teachers available through Jamaica Cuban Teachers Program or Cooperation. So this is where Cuban teachers come to our country to teach our students. And the main subject area that I know that the Cubans are available to teach here in Jamaica is Spanish. That's where majority of the Cuban teachers are aligned to, Spanish. There are other areas, but that's the main one. And in the strategies, I think 59. Yeah, I think 59 of such Cuban teachers would be necessary for the this academic year 2023-2024. All right. Now, these are just 11 of the 23 strategies that have been sanctioned, which is evident that teacher migration is still an issue in Jamaica. And the number of schools advertising temporary and vacant positions will increase as we move closer to the academic year 2023-2024. Teachers have assessed their situation and knows what will and what will not work for them, and as a result will determine whether or not they want to go or they want to stay. However, teachers, whatever decision you make, please ensure that it is not done prematurely. Go through the relevant process or channel to ensure that it's done right. So then, if you like this video, join me in the next one. And please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video.